Hello. Welcome to episode 2 of Walk the Dog Cinema. I hope you've all enjoyed the last movie if you've watched it. All About Eve. Moved on, we're going to go to 1951. I picked the Lavender Hill Mob. It's a movie I had heard about. Never really had time to watch it. It doesn't come on streaming all that much. But it is something I had heard about, wanted to see. It's with Alec Guinness, Stanley Halloway, directed by Charles Crichton, and I'm going to be honest, Alec Guinness, my introduction to him is Obi-Wan Kenobi as a little guy. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan, so... I didn't really know who he was until I got older and started discovering movies outside of horror and sci-fi. As a little guy, you get a little bit older and you start venturing out. And the next one I saw with him, Bridge Over the River Kwai, and the one he won the Academy Award for, and he's fantastic in it. And you hear the voice, and it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and but it's weird to see him as a younger person. Obviously, I mean, I was done in 57, and I knew he was in this. Again, like I said, it's not streaming. Don't inherently can just buy the DVD or whatever, but there was a Blu-ray, so I ended up getting it and checking it out, wanting to watch it. Finally got time to sit down and watch it. Alec has been in a lot of movies, seen some of the other ones, Raise the Titanic, Dr. Zhivago, and to be honest, I haven't seen those movies in a long time, so I can't speak to his performance, or, it's just like, oh, hey, he's in it, and knowing that, and, I was more wrapped up in everything else. But I think taking this little adventure with movies and kind of documenting it, paying attention a little more to other details, and kind of experimenting here and there. So it was interesting to see Alec Guinness even younger than Bridge, and it took a little bit a minute to really is that really him? He's really, I would say, bookish, nerdy in this. He's got his glasses on, really thin. I mean, young, but totally different from the debonair, British soldier, a lot of dignity from Bridge, and then the calm, cool spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, this from just those two is so different. I have to say, it's actually a joy to see him do straight comedy, and so to speak. So it was a trip, kind of seeing that, and you hear the voice and you're like, oh, that, yeah. But it's such an understated performance, but in its way, just kind of genius. I don't know, it's just so different. But he really plays a great, lovable, mousy person who kind of has this underneath that's very strong-willed, determined, and kind of sets people to really like him but underestimate him. His Dutch, or Holland as he goes by in the movie, it's really a great character. Very memorable performance, and really made me even appreciate him more as an actor in that sense. I mean, I actually like this character a lot. Like it's some great moments in the movie in that sense. I'm not familiar with Stanley Halloway, too much. So this is the first time I've seen him. He plays his friend, and it's there. It's well acted. He's got some great lines from the script. He delivers them good, and both of them have a lot of energy. They carry off of each other great, but it's definitely Alec Guinness's movie, and to carry all the way through. And it is a great performance on that level. So the basis of it, I'll get into, is Alec Guinness. He wants to do more with life, so to speak, or he gets an idea to do more with life, and that's to rob the Bank of London, and he's going to steal gold bullions. And he devises a plan and wants to recruit his friend who happens to have a smelting furnace that can, smelt the gold, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna get into some spoilers possibly now. So if you've never seen the movie and you wish to see it and don't want anything ruined for you before you watch it, I'd say stop the video now. Go ahead, when you finish watching, come back. Otherwise, continue on if it doesn't bother you any. If you've seen it before, again, I'd love to hear your comments on what you thought about the movie, and continue on about it. So we get into it, and little history. I found out that Clerk, who wrote the script, he basically went to the Bank in London, I guess, during that period of time, and talked to the bank people about how to rob a bank. And this was the idea that he put into this movie, is basically the bank telling him how to do this. So it's kind of a kooky little fact that I learned about this. Plus, the writer Clerk got nominated for an Academy Award for this. Saw an interview, I think he won it. And the script's okay. I mean, it's got some great lines. I really think the actors bring it out. I don't know if you inherently just read the script, you'd be like, oh wow. I mean, the plot's kind of kooky and great, and it's directed really good by Charles Crichton. If you've ever seen A Fish Called Wanda, you kind of know where it would be going with. It's that kind of humor. It really is, on a certain level, but it's a very understated movie at times. Enjoyable. Overall, you have to appreciate the acting. There are, as I say, as they steal the gold and they get going, Alec Guinness and his crew of 3 others. There's really 3 scenes that really stand out to me. Is when Alec Guinness and Stanley Halloway go to recruit some other criminals. They basically set the mousetrap. They're on the London Underground, or they're at a fight, and they're talking about money in a safe, and trying to get actual thieves to show up and kind of rob the place. And then they're going to pitch this idea of stealing the gold. And the whole thing about stealing the gold is it would be really hard to do it in London. I mean, we're talking after World War II, and so it'd be marked. So they got to get it down to Paris. And their idea of doing it is to melt it and make it into Eiffel Towers, because that's what Stanley Halloway does. He makes paperweights that are metal, pewter or whatever, kind of paints them gold into Eiffel Tower, and then sells them, And so with the concoction of the idea, they need a couple other people involved, kind of to go about their plan. And that scene, it's actually pretty funny. One of the guys they recruit, the robber, he basically gets stuck in there for a while because he's already trying to rob the safe. He doesn't get it open, but they show up before he can, and then someone else breaks in through the open window that they kind of left open. And and so they get these 2 guys involved, and they go about setting it up. And the 2 other guys are characters. They're bit parts, not bit, but I mean, they're supporting, but they don't do too much in the film, so to speak, at least to me. you know, there's some dialogue within the setup. The movie moves fast. It's a pretty short film, but at the same time, you know, so it doesn't really establish those characters too much. It's really about the two leading men, and I'm fine with that. But that scene's noteworthy. The second scene is when they finally do steal the gold. The heist in and of itself isn't terribly spectacular. There's a little bit of suspense within Alec Guinness is to not be tied up, get caught, or so to speak, or he's still going to go back to his bank job. You know, they tie him up and they plaster his eyes, and he kind of falls into the Thames, and they rescue him, and he becomes like this national hero who survived this bank robbery, even though he's the one that concocted it. It's all kind of charming and fine, but it's kind of a meandering part to me. It's kind of the heist in and of itself was fine, but then it slows down a little bit, and then when they go off to get their gold, to get their money, that's really when the movie really comes alive. I mean, the sequence at the Eiffel Tower, anyhow, they ship it in a box. They ship these gold bullions that are Eiffel Towers in a box, and they try to tell the people who sell the stuff, you know, you can't use this box, the one's marked with R. And there ends up being a translation problem with French and English. And the sequence is pretty nuts and pretty fun. So ends up happening is they sell these gold statues to 6 young girls from Britain as souvenirs, and Stanley, Halloway, and Alec Guinness are gonna go after and try to get them, and they have to beat the elevator down, and they use the stairs, and it's wonderfully directed. It's very dizzying. You can kind of sense, you know, I got the goosebumps, you know, about the height of it all, and it's wacky. Kind of reminds me of the, you know, Bugs Bunny cartoons or something. It's just, but it's dizzying, and it's well directed, and it's funny, and the expressions on both the lead actors' faces, just how they play it up, and the excitement, the thrill, the fear. It's really a great scene that it starts enlivening the movie, and you know, they chase after these girls and to get on, you know, in a taxi. Then they try to get on the boat, and the whole sequence where they're trying to get on this boat with their passports and luggage, and it's a great little about a 10-minute scene, it felt like, but it rushes headlong, and it's, you know, well edited, it's well directed, it's got a lot of energy, it's funny, and like I said, that scene really stands out. And then the end stands out. They track down the girls to a school. They kind of buy off all the merchandise as we get to the end here, and one girl's left that they need to get it off of, and otherwise they're gonna get caught by the police eventually. And it leads them into a police exhibition, because this little girl actually got one for her friend that's a police officer. And how they go about it, they just grab a hold of the statue and they make a run for it, and there's this great slapstick chase through the exhibition, and all these cops basically chasing after them, and it's quite funny. Again, a lot of energy. There's some great banter when they steal a police car and how they are trying to trick the police, and I really just love Alec Guinness's whole demeanor through this. Like, you can see he's just getting a thrill out of it all. Like, he hasn't had this much excitement in life through it, and he's just getting a joy. Doesn't really conceive of him really being a crook, but it's like that charge that, you know, he knows he's done something wrong, but it's all been worth it for life. And it's really a funny notion within it that we're kind of rooting for him to get away with it. And alas, the end of the movie comes as it starts. Alec Guinness is kind of doing it. The movie's done in flashback, and we get the payoff, you know, that he's telling the story to a policeman who's arrested him and how he tried to almost got away with it. He gets to enjoy the money for a year down in Rio de Janeiro, just to let you know. And, you know, I kind of like all that. You know, I know that, like, in America, they had I think the Heist code or whatever. So, again, just like All About Eve, you know, the good people got good and bad people had to pay in some manner. And I was reading up on a little bit, and the writer did want Dutch, Alec Guinness's character, to get away with it. And on one level, I think they should have maybe gone that way. But it wouldn't have got a lot of airplay, or any airplay, sorry about that, in America. So they would have lost out on a lot of chances for things. But, you know, the ending's satisfactory in where it comes from. You know, doesn't ruin it or make it unenjoyable. But we do root for Alec Guinness to get away with it. And, you know, I'm not one to say crime pay, you know, absolutely not in that sense. But in the context of how we feel about characters and all that, you are kind of rooting for him. And so it is kind of a funny thing. But at the end, he gets caught. You know, probably, who knows about jail time or anything. It doesn't set on that. It doesn't talk about, it's confident him and Stanley Halloway get caught. It doesn't talk about the other two. My suspicions would be that they wouldn't rat them two out anyhow and ever really get them. So that's kind of how I go, and that's why it wasn't ever shown. It's never shown or ever talked about. But overall, satisfactory. You know, I like the movie. I'd watch it again somewhere down the line. I think if you're into British dry humor and some comedy, it does have those three scenes, but the two kind of chase scenes are excellent to watch. The movie isn't terribly long, so it's a good little filler movie. It's you know, if you're into heist movies, there's better ones, but just for the performance of Alec Guinness, it's worth watching, and I'd say it's worth watching again. As just enjoyable fare. You know, it has its charms, and so, you know, I'd watch it again. I wouldn't put it in any top 10 category or anything like that, but it was fun, and that's about all you can ask. It gave me some entertainment, and so I'm glad I watched it. Yeah, so again, let me know what you think of the movie. If you've ever seen it, you know, just leave a comment down below. It'd be interesting to see some other opinions on this. I'd be curious to see how you feel about the ending of the movie, especially, you know, did you want him to get away with it? You know, what did you think of the kind of action sequences in it, the humor? It is a little dry, but you know, leave your comments in below, and if you want more, go ahead and subscribe. Keep doing this, and we're gonna keep moving on. I'm gonna move to 1952 and watch Akiru. It's on HBO Max, so if you want to get ahead on that one, go for it. That's my next one, and we'll see you later.